In Barney's version, 1997, Mordecai Richler layers multiple voices to build a reality riddled with uncertainty, cloaked in the guise of a defensive autobiography. An aging Barney Panofsky recounts his life while contending with memory lapses and the decline of old age, and his manuscript is further complicated by editorial interventions from his son, who may be adding even greater ambiguity. Barney declares, "Terry's the spur, the splinter under my fingernail," making clear that his memoir is conceived as a counterattack against the version of events Terry McIver is preparing to publish, which Barney is convinced will vilify him. The book thus unfolds as a preemptive justification. He recalls his youth in 1950s Paris, where he, McIver, and his closest friend Boogie belonged to a group of expatriate Canadian writers. Barney is certain that his life is brimming with promise and that greatness awaits him. During this time, he meets Clara Charnovsky, a brilliant but mentally unstable poet. Their marriage collapses under the weight of her illness, and she ultimately takes her own life. Years later, Clara's verse and tragic story make her a cultural icon, celebrated by the feminist movement. Shattered, Barney returns to Montreal and enters the television business, quickly becoming a wealthy but disillusioned producer of lowbrow programming. Seeking stability, he marries his second wife, identified only as the second Mrs. Panofsky, a woman whose endless chatter and shallow nature leave him dissatisfied. At their wedding, however, he meets Miriam and instantly falls in love. His marriage to the second Mrs. Panofsky deteriorates, and matters come to a head when he dreams of a plane crash, returns to their cottage, and discovers her in bed with Boogie. She storms out in fury, and Barney confronts Boogie with a gun, though Boogie dismisses his threats. Planning divorce, Barney even asks Boogie to act as co-respondent. Soon afterward, Boogie vanishes without a trace, never to be found. Suspicion falls on Barney, who is accused of murdering him in a drunken rage. But though the prosecution advances this theory at trial, the jury acquits him. Barney insists to the reader that Boogie told him he was going for a swim after being caught with the second Mrs. Panofsky. Barney remembers drinking with him, warning him not to swim while drunk, and then firing a warning shot as Boogie headed toward the water. Beyond this, his memory falters, but he maintains absolute certainty that he did not kill his friend and still half expects him to reappear one day. Afterward, Barney woos Miriam, marries her, and raises 3 children with her. Yet his insecurity over her beauty festers into obsessive jealousy, ultimately driving her away to the arms of a wealthy suitor. By the time he writes his memoir, Miriam is gone. His children are estranged, partly because they too believe he murdered Boogie, and his memory is failing. Meanwhile, Terry McIver builds a literary reputation, producing what Barney derides as hollow imitations of the lost generation, exploiting their Paris years as if they paralleled Hemingway and Fitzgerald's. Barney admits, however, that envy clouds his judgment. The novel concludes with Barney's formal diagnosis of Alzheimer's disease, signaling his descent into full dementia and death. In the closing scene, his son Michael, who has interspersed Barney's manuscript with corrections and commentary, visits the family cottage, stands on the porch, and watches as a firefighting plane descends to scoop water from the lake. The image suggests a possible fate for Boogie, who may have been swallowed up with the water decades earlier and dropped far away in the mountains. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy this video, leave a like and subscribe.